I'm so excited to be speaking to you guys. I am humbled and I really feel that this training will be good for people in all seasons of their business, whether you are brand new to the wall or brand new to your, building your team, or to somebody like me who's been in the business for 9.5 years. I'll be celebrating 10 years in January, which is wild. And also just maybe anybody who's just generally going through something that similar to what I went through at the beginning of this year. This is very fresh in my mind since I literally just went through it. And so I couldn't think of a better topic to be able to talk to you about today. So at the beginning of this year, it was a very, very hard beginning of the year. I did my Design Your Best Year Ever in the fall, and then in December, everything kind of fell apart for me. I lost my dog. I then, in the same day that I had to put him down, got confirmed with my pregnancy. So I was emotions everywhere. And then I was supposed to be going into this new year on fire, doing the same things I've always done. And I was just not feeling it. I was exhausted. I was nauseous. I was sad. But luckily I had one of my coaches on my team who was camped out in her RV in my backyard, who was kind of a mirror image of myself when I was new. She's a new premier coach this year, and she has so much energy and was so on fire about her business. And it really reminded me about how I was when I was new. And I was determined to figure out how to get that energy and that fire back about my team and about this business, because that is why I have been doing this for so long, because of the energy she was exuding. So, I hope this training helps, and I'm just going to jump right in now. For years, since 2012, when I made my first vision board, I had that 15-star jacket on my vision board. And even though it made its appearance every year, I'm sure you all have goals that make their appearance to your vision board every year, but you're just kind of like, oh, that would be cool, but you're not really willing to work for it. That was 15-star for me. I was willing to work for top 10. Top 10 made sense to me. I didn't have one of those businesses where you have a power leg and you have an upline adding to your organization and you have this hands-on kind of leadership or this, camaraderie from your team. I have a really great upline coach, but I was a couple levels down, and I always felt like I had to do this myself and I had to do this my way. And one of the ways that was taught in my organization and my uplines groups was to build volume and to build many business centers and to build residual income and to not really focus on rank. And so, and she was a top 10 coach and she was on CAB. So of course we model the people who we look up to. And so that was my driving force. And I was also taught that it didn't really make sense to build a business for a bonus, and that it made more sense to build a business based off of a residual income that is always coming in. And so that also made sense for me in terms of sustainability, and to build a business that would last, not just something I would zoom to and then lose. So that became my focus for the last 9.5 years. But in 2019, there was a plot twist. I became a mom, and I had built this business for 7 years with no children. So for those of you who've always had children, you may not relate to this, but my business was my baby. I worked and played and worked and played. There was no children in the mix that make things very interesting now that I know. And I got the call actually on a hospital bed with the newborn baby, literally just delivered her. I got the call that our team had been top 10, and it was this blow that I was not expecting. I was almost sad. And it was such a weird emotion to be having. It's also very fresh hadn't even slept yet with the baby and everything like that. But I had this baby and I was getting this call that's usually so exciting, and it just wasn't. And that started the journey. I hit top 10 another year after that, but that started that emotional journey and working through those issues that I was having, of feeling that pull and tug about my goals, and knowing that my priorities had changed, and just not being willing to let go of them so soon, just so abruptly like that. And so it really started to hit me though when I started to have to turn down the top 10 trips, which were family vacations for me. Like I considered the top 10 trip a family vacation with Michael and the top 10 coaches, and they're so fun for me. And it was something my husband and I, it was our life for 7 years. It was something we looked forward to every single year for 7 years. And then all of a sudden, it became something that I dreaded. I dreaded having to turn down that trip, having to see everybody else go on it, having to see somebody else take my spot, even though I'm so glad they started that, because it's almost worse when it just gets wasted. But it was heart-wrenching to have to turn it down every year. And it was almost like, why am I top 10? This is terrible. I don't want to have to do this anymore. And so at the beginning of this year, I was like going to this year with all of those emotions of, you know, first trimester, losing my dog, who was like, he was my first baby. Actually, he was my first why. That my business all started because of a promise to a dog. And that's where I get emotional. But, you know, it's like, this is how I was feeling right now. Like, this is how I was feeling beginning of this year. And I just did not have it in me to push with all the competition. It just gets harder and harder and harder every year. And my priorities are my children, and I'm pregnant, and it's just, it didn't make sense. So instead of just being like, well, I'm just going to coast and I'm just going to do whatever, and I'm not going to have a plan, and I'm just going to, like, you know, fly by the seat of my pants, I decided to sit down and rewrite the vision that I had for my family, and rewrite our goals, and rewrite everything that I wanted from my life. And so while I was doing that, of course, it was something I did with my husband. And not only that, I also have very specific, we all have very specific values that we are just not willing to compromise, right? And so I had to really make sure that my goals aligned with my values, and that it was something that was going to drive me and excite me the way my coach, my friend who was staying with me, was excited about her team and her growing business, like we all are in the beginning. So these are the 5 values and that I had to make sure that were taken into consideration when I was writing my new set of goals. The first one was that I would not feel crazy doing it all. How many of you have ever felt super crazy because you have all of those points that you have to hit for elite, and maybe you're pushing for top 10, or you're pushing for top 25, or you're pushing for top 50 or top 100, and you just don't know how you're going to do it all? The leadership development and the running the groups and the recruiting and the helping the new, it's a lot. It's not easy. I mean, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But my second value is that it's sustainable. So that has always been something that I will not budge on when it comes to this business. I figured out how to stay in the top 10 in a sustainable way while also having a really fun life and feeling super fulfilled. I do not see how I can possibly be sustainable and pushing for top 10 and be present with my children and have fun with all of my billion other hobbies, which a lot of people may not have, and they just have their business and their babies, which is really respectable, and I totally honor that. But me and my husband, we have so many other things going on in our life, and I really had to realize that I built this business to have a life, not to make this business my life. And so it had to be sustainable with all the other things that we have going on, and also be able to continue to build my income. This is the third thing. It has to continue to build my income. It can't go backwards. I'm not going to throw away all these years of hard work to start backsliding. I'm not going to throw up my feet and be like, I'm retiring. I'm not going to do that. So in order for it to make sense, it also has to increase my income, and it has to increase my coach's income. So, and then the fourth thing is that it has to be leading with the wellness and not the business. And I know that sounds super like weird to some people, but for me, in order to genuinely share, I have to focus on lifestyle. Lifestyle has always been how I've led my business, and I've gone through periods of leading with the business more out of pressure, or maybe needing to keep up with the person next to me or to win or whatever and be in competition. But I can share more genuinely and more happily when I'm just really focused on my own wellness journey and my own life and my own lifestyle. So it had to also, that was the fourth value that absolutely I cannot waver on. I should have gotten some water. The fifth one is that it would challenge me in new ways and in ways that I could get excited, because I really feel what turns something into a job is monotony, is doing the same thing over and over again and getting bored, is not feeling challenged, not feeling excited. That's a job. You're like stuck in the same income bracket, and I feel like you can fall into that with this too if you're not constantly leveling up and challenging yourself. So for me, it had to challenge me in new ways that was exciting to my brain and exciting to my heart, and also exciting to my vision, and that I started to reach goals again, new goals that felt different. So yeah, so I was starting to really get bored with the same old hustle that honestly was not fitting with my lifestyle anymore. And it's not that everything changed. It's just that one simple shift that I made with my goals led me to become more productive in a different way, increase my income, which I'm on track to increase my income this year versus last. We'll see what happens. But so far it's looking like it will. And also to increase my leader's income. It's a scary day for me when I wake up and I don't feel like working. It's a scary day for me when I wake up and I am not excited about my future, because I just feel like I'm here, I made it, what's next, So I have to make sure that I'm doing the work to constantly be getting excited about my future and about the vision and what I'm doing to be able to do that. So maybe if you are feeling a little stuck or complacent, or you're just like, I got everything, like I'm happy, I'm grateful, I got everything I could possibly need, maybe sitting down to rewrite your vision or to have something else that's going to push you may help you. Like for me, for example, we want to buy a land and have a farm and have a homestead and be sustainable, 100% sustainable on our own farm. And that is something that we could get excited about. So, and not something we've ever thought we'd ever want, but we thought it'd be a fun new challenge for our life and great for our family. So we're going to go for it. So it doesn't have to be that extreme, but that's just my example and what we decided to do. Okay, so I finally set out to make 15 Star happen. And what I realized is the reason why I had never gone for it before was because my past attempts made me feel insecure. And I lacked the confidence to want to go for it again, because I had tried so many times. But I also realized that I was so green in my leadership that I had went about it completely the wrong way. So what I decided to do instead was to focus on helping them feel supported with their goals, but also being very clear that this is also my goal. Like, I don't feel like not telling them that it was about 15 would be helpful, because it became a team goal. It became something that we were all doing together. But they understood that my main goal was to help them to increase their paychecks from Q1 to Q2. And I almost wanted to tell them, like, look, this is just to show you guys the difference between going in and out of diamonds and getting to diamond and staying solid and growing beyond that. And what I had to do is that I had to really start to help them to see the earning potential, like with the business they were sitting on, through crunching numbers, their carryover volume, things that I thought that was like way over people's heads, which actually made sense to them. And I was like, this makes sense to you? Like, I couldn't believe it, because it would have been completely over my head. So I'm not a numbers person. I'm more of a creative, but it really, really helped click for them, and like made me feel so excited that it wasn't too much for them, So I could have these conversations with coaches who have like 5 or more coaches, and they totally get it. So I had to sit down with each and every one of them individually and go through their business and help them set up a long-term strategy for 2-Star, and really show them visually how that would pay off long-term, and how the difference in their earnings when they're paid emerald and when they're paid diamond. And it's almost like I reverse engineered it to show them like the team cycle bonuses and like the difference it made, and had them really start crunching numbers and doing it themselves and learning what the carryover volume meant and the cycles and all this stuff that they had no idea, but really makes sense if you're really building a business here. Like, it's just one of those limiting beliefs I had that it would overwhelm them when really it excited them. So one thing that I started doing that you can actually start doing too, if it's something that you want to try, is that every Thursday I devote to mentorship day. And it's honestly like so tedious and takes so much time. It takes all day, it takes all my time. But I come through all of their organizations. I check out what their coaches are doing. I help them, with moving people around, with their coaches moving people around, with strategies on how to continue to maximize their income, helping them to check their ego before their bank account, and to also understand that, that this is something that, okay, so this is what you did this week, great, but and I can cast that vision for the next month. And I send them a voice message every Thursday. They know they're going to hear from me with a check-in. And it's not in a, save your diamond kind of way. It's more in a great job this week. Like, you're diamond, awesome. What are you doing to keep moving on beyond diamond? Or you're about to lose your diamond. Let's talk about why you're about to lose your diamond and what you could do to keep it more solid, and what you can continue to do to help your team to grow, and what's going on with this person, what's going on with that person. Just really having those discussions. And I know that there's probably quite a few of you who are like, you just started doing this? Like, what's the deal, Amy? Like, this is something we always do. But you guys, I was just doing what I was taught to do. I was just modeling what I saw people doing. This is not something that anybody ever did with me. So, I would like to say I'm a slow learner, because that's how I feel sometimes. I feel like I'm always the last person to get the memo. But, I didn't have this kind of hands-on approach given to me. And so I've really had to come about it in trainings and to really make these observations myself. And, Beachbody's not guaranteeing level success. Any success you have is based off your own diligence, skill, and hard work. But I did build a 7-figure income off of residual income. And for me, it's made sense to build the business the way I have. And these bonuses are just that. They are bonuses. And honestly, like, it's just not something that I really felt was going to help my team. And I had to really, like I said, I had to rephrase and re-look at the way that I looked at things, and my own limiting beliefs, my own lack of confidence, and my own insecurities. And I will say that the most rewarding thing for me with this was at the end of Q2, I got on a Zoom call with all the girls, and we went through and we added up their commissions from the first quarter and their commissions from the second quarter. And every single one of them who had kept their diamond and grown beyond that had increased their income. Anybody who had just been stuck at diamond or fallen in and out didn't. So it was really proof that was worth my time and effort. It was really proof that I was helping them. And that's the proof that I needed to know that, like, I wasn't pushing, that I was helping. And now I just did that with my first CBC. So now I feel confident to be able to take that into my entire organization and to start teaching that. But I had to test it out myself first. And now I'm telling you guys about it. And we just went superstar. And, it's just one of those things, like, it's that 12-week year, now I help them set the goal for the next 12-week year. And now they understand the importance, and I don't have to beat them over the head. Like, they know now through their own paychecks and through their own work ethic what they could have and what they could not have, and how they can save it and how they can build beyond it. So yeah, I totally used to be that person that thought 15-star was just for bonuses and just for recognition. And look, if that is why you push for 15-star, there's nothing wrong with that. My first year pushing for top 10 was like, new coach, I want to be on that stage. That's how it all starts. That's what Summit is for. That recognition is important. Bonuses make up some coaches most of their income, which if it works for you, yes, do it. That's great. But for me, I didn't quite understand what the point of it was. And everybody builds differently, and everybody has different businesses. There's nothing wrong with that. But it took me some time to see how it could really benefit me and my team. And that is how I associated being a goal to being more productive, and to helping my team be more productive, and to help me get re-excited about a business that I've been doing for almost a decade, that, I don't want to ever look back on and be like, oh, I should have done this, I could have done this. I am now looking at myself as a brand new coach with a brand new set of eyes that sees my business completely different, that I can do completely different activities on, and maybe even have better results. And now I just have a better foundation to go from. and with just so much more knowledge and just so much more skills than I had before. So it's just about getting better and growing, and yeah, and just continuing to reevaluate, reinvent. And I hope that, you know, if you have been feeling stuck in any way, that this helps you to see that, you know, you don't have to remain stuck, and that you can unstick yourself at any moment, and that, yeah, just keep going. I hope this is helpful to you. Thank you.